In this video, we want to talk about staging and commit, right? Now let's look at what staging is. Staging, this is adding files in a state where they are tracked and read to be added to the Git repo in such a way, basically to be saved, to be added in the Git repo. So those files are said to be in the staging area. So before we commit our code, we need to place it in a staging area. Now what is committing, right? So committing is the process in which the changes are officially added to the Git repository, right? So it's just like you saving your document, right? So before you save your document, each time you make a change, right, you want to add it to this staging area so that once you commit, you'll be able to add that particular file, add that particular files to commit to save that particular file anytime you actually save, right? So before we committing is like saving it, right? Why? Staging is like preparing it to be saved, right? So basically, so let's see how we can actually do that, right? So we have series of code that will be going through, a series of command rather, that will be going through to enable us understand how this can easily be implemented when we are working and building an application, right? So let's go back to our repo that we are working on. So I initially opened this little document here, and we have already initialized our Git in our directory, right? So I want to see what then happens each time we move. So the first command here is what we call Git Status. Look at it. The first command here is what we call Git Status. So I want to see how Git Status actually how it works, right? So the major work of Git Status, it shows us which file have been changed, which files are tracked, right? So we want to see which files have been changed or which file are tracked. So that's what we do with Git Status. So I go with Git Status, right? You see on the master branch, no commit yet on track files. So this status showed me the files that are not tracked. So for me to track them, so for me to prepare them, for them to be added to the staging area, I need to actually add them to the staging area. So if it is showing you red here, as it's showing me index.html, style.cell, that means these two files are not tracked if a new changes have been made or not, right? So basically, even if I commit them right now, there will be nothing to save. So the next thing is asking me to do is for me to add them to my staging area. So whenever I commit them, whenever I create a commit, I'll be able to actually save this file, right? So that's the first thing we want to do. We want to first and foremost add them to our staging area, right? From what we have here, there are three different ways you can add our file to our staging area, right? So if I use this dot add and the name of the file, for example, if I use git add index.html, it's going to add just the index.html file, right? And if I want to add the index.html file and the style.css file as well, I can go ahead and say style.css as well. By doing this, it's going to add the both file. But if I want to add all the file in that particular directory, I just add a period sign, which is a dot sign like this, and it's going to add the both files to the directory by default. So let's use this third one, right? So by me doing this, it will simply add all those files to my staging area, right? To my staging area. So let me see Git.Status again. So let me see which file have been added to the staging area or which file that have been tracked, right? So now it's showing this file as what green. That means they have been added to the staging area, right? And you can actually see that they are actually tracked and they have been added to the staging area. So the next thing for me to do right now is if I make a new changes, I will be able to see if I can actually make a commit or something, right? So right now, this is what we have. So I want to make a simple change, right? I want to instead of here to be Git and GitHub, I want here to be VCS, and I want to change here to be what Git and GitHub in my .html, and let's see if there's going to be any change whatsoever. So let's try that. So I go back to my version control system. So what I do now is to actually change it. So I copy this out and I call this, I type VCS here, VCS here, and I change the VCS here to Git and GitHub, then I save it, right? So basically, if I refresh my document now, I have switched those files. So this is what I have, right? So I will now go back to my Git repo to see what I have. When I click Git status. So when I click Git status again, you've seen that now it has shown me that one file has been modified, right? So basically I need to commit that file because I've actually modified the file, and that's why it's showing me index.html as red, right? And that's why it's saying here that since the last time you added this file, we are start tracking the index.html file. We realize that you have made changes that have not been actually saved, right? So basically it's asking me to save this file so that I can actually commit that particular changes. So the next thing I want to do now for my command line here, the next command I want to look at now is how to actually add it, how to actually create a commit, right? So let's see how I can actually create a commit using that. So for me to create a commit is very simple. I just use the command line, I just use this git command, git commit -m is the message I want to add in order for me to know what I'm trying to say. So you want to make sure that your message tallies or comes in line with what you just change, right? So I'll just say change of brand name. Let me just assume that particular VCS is the brand name or the logo, right, of the particular project, right? So I'll just call it change of brand name. So I end it like this. So this is the message that this particular commit is going to have, right? So let's see what we have now. Exactly as you can see now, it's saying that awesome, right? I've actually created my commit file, right? So the next thing command we want to look at is Git Dot Log. So what the Git Dot Log command does is that it shows us all the commits that we have made, right? So let's see. Then if we want to view the commit that we have made, we'll say Git Dot Log, and you see all the commits we have made. You see the first commit I've made, right? The first commit that we have made, and the author of the commit, and hopefully as well as the date the commit has been made, and the change of what brand name, that is the name of this particular commit. Now the next thing I want to do right now is create another commit, so we will see if we still have another commit when I create this git.log. Let me just clear this code. I just love my terminal to always be clean. So let me try and create another commit, right? So let's see something else that we can actually change. So I go back to my document. I don't want that footer to be red. So let me see if I can change this footer to be some other color, right? Let's see if I can change it to some other color. Let's say 9900, right? Let's say I want to change to this, let me change something like this, pale green. So I save it. So instead of red, so I want to change it to that pale green color in a way, right? So now I will go back and I will, if I go back to my terminal and I use Git Status, right? So this is what you will see. You will see some of the changes have been made, right? So I want to actually commit these particular files, right? So I will now add them to the staging area so that I could actually commit them, right? So I'll say git add, right? So they've been added to the staging area. So the next thing I want to do now, if I click on Git status, they should be green before I actually commit them. So I'll now, to commit them now, say git commit -m, I'll say change footer color. Right, so basically I've actually committed that particular one now. So if I use git.log, I'll be able to see my two commits. So the first commit is change footer color, and the first commit is change of brand name, and the second commit is what? Change footer color, right? So we've done that. So if we want to go back to our previous version, so right now it's just like we have two versions. We have the first version of our project where the footer color is red, and the brand name is something else, and we also have the second version where the footer color is green, pale green, and the brand name has been changed to VCS, right? So now if we want to move to the previous changes before we made that change, right? So we're going to hit on Git Checkout to actually move to this particular last commit that we made. So let's see if we can actually move to a previous version of our document. So for me to move to a previous version of our document, I'll just click this commit right now. So for example, if you look at it now, if we reload this, it's showing me green, right? So I want to go to the previous version where it was red, right? So that's what I'm going to do now. So for me to do that, I'll just click on that particular previous version, and I'll use Git Checkout. So checkout command allows us to do that, right? So the checkout, then the ID, right? The ID that we have, and I have that, and it has been moved basically. So let's see what we have now. See, it has been moved to the previous version of commit, right? So basically that is how it works. Then if you want to move to your latest commit, right? So it's a Git Checkout Master, so it moves to your latest commit version, right? So basically that's what it does, right? So let's see how that one works. So Git Checkout Master, right? So I have that, and let's see. So you see, it has moved to our latest commit, right? So basically, that is how Git's commit works. And in the next video, we'll be treating branches in Git. So see you in the next video.